of Toyu and Tikkun, and the fact that Toyu is higher than Tikkun. The only problem is that Toyu broke, and our task is to pick up the sparks and bring them back into Tikkun. So then you will have the lights of Tohu in the vessels of Tikkun, and that is the ultimate goal. That's the coming of Mashiach. We were in the middle of explaining the idea of Tohu shattering. Yesterday we discussed the idea of Tohu shattering more the understanding of imploding, but there's also exploding. There's another aspect that extremism could cause. But before I discuss that, I also want to point out that the extremism in Tohu is very godly. It's very godly, the extremism in Tohu. Tohu doesn't mean. Why are they so extreme? Because they want the spheres in Tohu, want to reveal godliness in their way. So, for example, let's say Chesed of the world of Tohu wants to reveal God through the idea of Chesed in the world, and it's very extreme about it. It's very passionate about it. And when you're very extreme and passionate about something, that's not necessarily bad. The problem is when you don't have the Shema, which is called in Kabbalah, which we're going to discuss, Shema Chadash, Shema Chadash, the new Shema. What happens when there's no Shema? Even though that you're so bottled, and you're so nullified, and you're so devoted for the cause, still, what's going to happen to you? Ultimately, you get stuck in your way. I am Chesed. I believe the only way to reveal godliness is Chesed. That's it. So when it needs to collaborate with Gvura, one of the things there's a difference between the world of Tohu and the world of Tikkun is that in the world of Tohu there's no collaboration whatsoever. In the world of Tikkun, we could even see that in Sfirat HaOmer. There's Chesed Shebegvura, there's Gvura Shebechesed. What does it mean, Chesed Shebegvura, Gvura Shebechesed?
Like what you say when you're born.
The what?
I heard, for example, when I was born, I was called Netzach Chesed.
Because you were born in Sfira.
Yeah.
That's already like a stretch. That's because every day in Sfira we have to work on Midah. So that's the name of the day Kabbalistically, and you were born middle of the Sfira. So they said that you're what? Netzach Shebech Chesed. Netzach Shebech Chesed. You're still born in the middle of Pesach. Nice.
18th of Nisan.
Yeah. You know what's special about the 18th of Nisan?
This?
The Rebbe's bris. He was born on the Rebbe's bris. Wow. What a chassid. What's your birthday?
My birthday is the 1st of Tammuz.
Chodesh.
Wow. My Brit Milah wasn't a Shabbos. My family had no way to get a Brit Milah for me, but they knew someone from Muncie. We live 45-minute walk from Muncie, so we walked about 5 minutes to get to the Brits, yeah.
Wow.
I have no idea who he is, but someone from Muncie.
Okay, as long as you did the job. Nice. You live 45 minutes from Muncie?
That's where I grew up, my first house, yeah.
Where? Suzanne?
It's a goyish town called Upsala River.
Oh, I didn't mean Suzanne. I meant Saddle River. Saddle River, New Jersey.
Yes. Yeah.
Nice. Well, Saddle River, New Jersey has a street called Saddle River that crosses the border.
Exactly.
It goes into Muncie, and I used to pass that every day.
Been there?
Yeah, for a few years.
Lives everywhere. You're a man in the world.
The wandering Jew.
Yeah.
You guys are bringing up trouble.
What?
Joe.
Well, what?
So you guys bringing up trauma.
I was like, what's happening?
That's not too bad of a place.
I don't know, I've never been there.
No, it's very, very nice. It's very nice.
Never been to America
Yet.
yet.
Most probably you want to travel one day to the river, no? The Doyle. Well, with your visa.
Huh?
You need a visa to get into America?
No. Oh, the same visa like everyone else. The ESTA visa.
Esther.
$5 visa.
I know it is.
No, it's not $50.
That's how long. Oh, Boaz.
Yeah.
Very good. Boaz is back. How are the Danishes today? Better than yesterday? It was a bit doughy. It's good. It's good. It's doughy.
It's a lot.
Still a little doughy.
Yeah, but I mean, what we can do
It's a dough.
it looks like it's what's what I'm looking for? It's almost like pastry. But
Yeah, but he needs to know to do it the right. Is it completely baked or not?
yeah, it's not raw. Definitely not raw. Maybe like maybe the other day when you it was a little bit but not fine now.
It's fine now. Okay. So just have to tell him good feedback. So
You don't want to fire him.
no, I was about to tell him you're fired, and it's all because of Boaz.
Yeah.
Don't put it on my come on.
That was the whole idea. But
So he doesn't have to put on his name.
so really, I want to keep you, but Boaz said if you don't fire the guy, I'm going to sue you. You're feeding people dough in the morning.
What kind of yeshiva is this?
Exactly. Actually, these rogalach are very important, are very expensive.
Really? Like Abichail's?
No, this is Abichail's cost an arm and a leg.
No.
Fine. So they use that, cut it out of their budget. So it's too expensive. But going back, the world of Torah is the holy world. The problem is that when there's no bittul, real bittul, we're going to see the idea of bittul of Shema. That's what we're discussing. The idea of bittul of Shema. Then what happens is it causes a lot of problems, and that's what we discussed yesterday. We discussed more how extremism causes you to implode within yourself. If you're too extreme, the problem with too extremes, you think that comes out of devotion, it comes out of like I only want the truth. Like, what's going to happen? What's the problem when you're like when you say you're all about truth?
Boaz,
Really, what?
Boaz,
Like that?
the we told about the example of yesterday.
What?
The woman that went
The girl?
and the girl
Wasn't true. What's the topic? What?
of extremism.
Oh, there was a story of this girl, this guy I knew who became Baal Tshuva when he was in college at Colorado State University in Fort Collins. And he said he heard the story from the Rebbitzin there, the girl that was there before him. And originally she was not religious, and she went to like a class by Rebbitzin on Sneas. And she took the complete wrong route of it, like where she came to the Shabbat dinner wearing not his clothes whatsoever, and said, "Look, like I'm Sneas." Like she's wearing arms exposed, low cut top, like short shorts. And the Rebbitzins like just tell me why Sneas, why? And she told me about wearing clothes that empower you and you feel good about yourself and make you feel beautiful. And she was like, and just took the whole just wrong approach to it. Later on, come to find out the same girl, I guess in a sense woman, would go on to become so frum that she won't even eat in the Rebbitzin rabbi's house. I think I remember the story because He bracha from non-sneeze women.
Okay, I don't want to go on off that. I don't want to go down that road because I have a lot of very bad experience with these things. Usually extreme people go extreme on both sides. What are they missing? What are they lacking? So they say I'm very, very much into the truth. What they don't realize is that they're not into truth, they are into justice. There's a major, major difference between being into truth and being into justice. What's the difference between truth and justice?
Emes versus mishpat.
Exactly. Emes versus mishpat. That's good. What's the difference between emes and mishpat? Emes in Kabbalah is the center line. Emes is tiferes. Mishpat is din, justice. It's on the left.
It's based.
Exactly, like based. What's the problem with that?
Is justice always? I think it's almost like it's like where every square is a rectangle, and everything is a square. All like
It's very good in court, but there's a pasuk that says the place of judgment is a place of cruelty. Why? That's why it's highly encouraged in Judaism to compromise, not to go, even when you go to court, to ask for a compromise, not to ask for justice. What's the problem with justice? The problem with justice
it's
is
like a form of revenge.
it sounds like revenge. Why is justice revenge? Because
Leave the other person at deficit.
exactly. Okay, but that person deserves it. That person deserves it. And the answer is that justice might be just in a certain way. Might be just, and that's always when you talk to extremists, you'll always find the same thing. They're always right. They're very important. It's very important for them to be right.
Right, but you see most of them they debate.
They debate. They're right.
They're the faces of political parties in America and other countries.
No. There's also not every politician is extreme, but one thing they're always lacking is the ability to take their ideas and to bring it down into the world. The ability of taking ideas and making them practical.
Yeah.
So what are they basically saying? On one hand, they're saying, what do you mean? There's a quote over here. It says clearly over here that the Rebbe says that this and that. Yeah. But they're lacking understanding the truth means that it could permeate the world. It could become a part of the world. It could be contained by the world. In Hasidus and Kabbalah, the word emes is in the sphere of Tiferet. And Tiferet is mavriach min hakotza el hakotza. The idea of Tiferet is that it goes all the way from the top to the bottom. What is the meaning in Kabbalah of the words that something can go all the way from the top to the bottom? Is that it goes all the way to the source, but it has the ability to permeate the world to what?
We talked about it here a long time ago about that. The Kabbalist versus the philosopher.
Yeah, no, but that's something else.
No, I know. Was that right? Was that not the?
We had a conversation about the philosopher versus the
Kabbalist.
The Kabbalist.
Kabbalist is top down, the philosopher's bottom up.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But over here, we're talking about the idea of emes being something you can take the highest ideas and bring it down into the lowest.
That's wrong.
You can have a brilliant idea, but if you can't make it into a product, right? In business, you can have the best idea in the world, but if you can't turn it into a product and you can't market it, and it's worth nothing. Why? You could be right from today to tomorrow, but it's not truth. What's the difference between right and truth? Right, thank you. You're right. It's a brilliant idea, but you can never make it into a business. I'm sorry, you can never make it a business model. What does that basically say? It says that it cannot change the world. It cannot take effect. The world cannot contain it. Understand what I'm saying? So that is a very, very important point. So when it comes to extremism, when it's lacking Shema, so the world of Torah is very, very holy. It's very, very holy. And to a certain extent, it's holier than the world of Tikkun.
What's Shema?
Shem Ma, the name Ma. We're going to discuss what the meaning of the word Ma is when we're going to talk about the world of Tikkun, which is the world of Atzilus, with the small lights and big vessels. But now we want to describe what happened in the world of Toyu and why there's a world of Toyu. The world of Toyu is a world where there's big lights and small vessels. And yesterday we started talking, when we spoke about Naki, just do it, that what?
Maybe come into this.
Oh, because we're describing that marketing is a good example for the world of Toyu. We said, well, God created a world and it made a mistake. It just exploded. And what did we explain? That there's a certain advantage for strong energy. Strong energy always has to come with small vessels. Why do you want to have small vessels? Because once they're contained in vessels, you take away the energy. The example for that was from the world of marketing. The world of marketing is such a world that the world of marketing is a world that you want to captivate the people. You want to capture the people. And that's why one of the things in marketing is you have to have the least words possible. You need a slogan. What's the idea of a slogan? The idea of a slogan is, yes, I can. Just do it. Go to the last drop.
It's almost like three. I mean, no, it's almost like 3 words.
No, because it's too short, catchy, and hooks the
Yeah, but it's
consumer.
just 3 words.
No, they would prefer
Would you rather write the whole paragraph?
Oh, that's what I was asking. Why not have a whole paragraph? It would be so much clearer. Yesterday we did an experimentally here, and almost everyone had a different explanation to what it means. Yes, I'm just do it, or go to the last drop, or putting people first, or consider it done.
The list goes on.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking about the very good ones.
Right.
Putting people first. Who's putting people first? Chase. Consider it done. UPS. Who's considered it done? No. I think UPS is putting people first. Who's good to the last drop? Nescafe. Oh.
Drink coffee.
You're not real sweet.
I'm not Swedish.
Yeah.
Okay, but what's the idea? The idea is, why not have a whole paragraph? What would happen to the energy if you have a whole paragraph?
It becomes.
What would happen?
Bored. You become bored.
But what's the point? You're missing the energy. It's going to be explained. Once it's explained, what happens once you explain something to someone?
Not everyone.
What's the problem? You could argue. You can't argue. What?
More energy is captivated in less content.
Why? Not captivated. You're saying the right words in the wrong.
I guess because people...
More energy is when you don't captivate it in words. There's so much more energy in good actors.
In look versus words.
Exactly. Why? Because the less vessels, what happens? I'm not penetrating you. You are sucking into me. That's why good actors. I once had a psychologist that told me, he said, don't say it, act it. That's what they say in Hollywood. What's the difference? When you say it, you're constantly trying to invade, trying to permeate, trying to
Convince in a way.
convince.
Right.
Convincing penetration. Convincing means, okay, I'm going to try to think what you could answer, things like that. Yeah, for example, now you see all the Palestinian propaganda. One of the most brilliant things that it gets me nervous, but that's already my issues. But one of the most brilliant things that they do is that they'll say sentences. Good morning, Yuri, Rabbi Namdar. One of the crazy things that they say is that they just say words and they don't even make sense. I heard yesterday.
People love it. They like a lot of Americans. They find it catchy, and they go with it.
Oh, when you say the word catchy, let's try to understand that. What is the Kabbalistic word catchy? What is the let's translate it from English into Kabbalistic terms. What does catchy mean? Catchy means that you get sucked into this. when I convince you about something, let's say I sit 2 hours, and let's say I'm even successful, I'm convincing Boaz to buy this new machine. Could you call that catchy? No, I convinced him by going into penetrating his world and convincing him why he needs it. That's penetration. That's called kalim. That's called vessels. I want you guys to understand the difference between light and vessels. Light and vessels have a different form of relaying a message. The message, what happened? Looking for the word relaying.
I have a good question.
Yeah, but first let's get to the understanding of it. When there is less light, in other words, what Boaz said is true. I'm just changing the words. It's not that you want to captivate it in. I don't remember the words you were saying. The words that I was thinking, according to Kabbalah, the words toyu. The reason why marketing, you want to leave it in a state of energy, so therefore you want to have less. Therefore, you want to have less words, because the more words you have, what's going to happen to the energy?
It becomes allocated.
Exactly, it becomes allocated. For example, let me use another example. The reason why Chabad likes nigunim without words. The more words you have, more limited it becomes. So let's say you sing Anim Zmiris, it's a beautiful tune, but still it's singing about telling God about his greatness and about the fact that you want to be in the shape of his hands and you want to know his secrets and so on and so forth. But when you sing vegan without words, it's so much more powerful. The messages are unlimited. Why? Because it's not contained in words. So how does that work? You get captivated by, or it's catchy, you get caught by the snigging, and you could just interpret it whichever way you want. What is the danger of that? It could also, much easier, misinterpret it. And when you misinterpret it, where are you going to get your energy from? From the original source, yes or no?
No.
Sure, you're going to get it from the original source, but in a makif way. You didn't really get it. You missed the pneumius, you missed the idea, but you still get the energy from that source. You just misinterpreted it. For example, the example that Boaz brought before with the Rebbetzin that said you have to get dressed the way that empowers you, and she thought it means to get completely not tznius. That's what empowers means.
Management could be anything.
What?
She almost like interpreted it could be anything. Anything you want it to be.
Exactly. So why? So whose fault is it really to a certain extent?
The teacher.
The teacher. Why? Because she didn't really explain what she meant empower. Empower your healthy side, not your. I don't want to say it on like thousands of people over here on YouTube listening to this. Yeah. I'm joking. Yeah.
They talk about in public. I went to public school and they talk about how if there's an exam and only if it's like a couple people have the exam, that's on the students. But if the whole class fails, on the professor or teacher.
Right. But I'm not blaming that teacher. I'm just saying I want you to understand a very important point. The reason why that student was able to misinterpret it is because the teacher didn't contain it in clear words. Why didn't the teacher contain it in clear words? Because they wanted true, but also because they wanted to maintain a level of energy. If you go into the details, you said before an interesting word, you said it's boring. I wouldn't call it boring because some people want to hear the details.
Yeah.
It's something else. It's not because of boredom. Because if she would tell, let's say, that girl, cover your elbows, that girl might have an objection to it. That girl might, that's called penetration. Penetration means, oh, I'm going into your world and I'm telling you, make your sleeves longer in order to cover your elbow. That causes a lot of reaction. That causes a lot of friction. That causes defense mechanisms going up. But when I only give you an idea, it's more catchy. But when I give you only an idea, it could be misinterpreted. How do we call in Kabbalah misinterpretation? In the context of Tohu? Death. In the Torah, it's called death. And in Kabbalah, it's called the breaking. The breaking of the vessels. The vessels now still get the energy. When that girl came in your story, that girl came in completely in a provocative, not sneers, in a provocative way. Where did she get her energy from? From that same speech. She got it from that same speech. That same speech empowered her to do what she did, but in a way of breaking. Why did the teacher give that speech that way? Because she wanted to be catchy. She wanted to captivate her. She wanted to.
The way she succeeded, because her reaction was sincere.
Right, but that's a roundabout. It was misinterpreted. It was misconstrued.
Yeah.
That's the idea of the breaking of vessels of Tohu. You get that idea, guys? So why is there a world of Tohu? Why did God create a world of Tohu? Why? Again, a lot of people that don't understand Kabbalah say, "Oh, okay, God created a world of Tohu, and what a mess up, it broke, it shattered." No, that's not the. There needs to be. God created a world of energy that, without that, there wouldn't be strong and passionate energies in the world. But that's the risk. There's a risk reward. The more risk, the more reward. Take, for example, the Rebbe. The Rebbe, the last few years before he passed away, spoke about Mashiach. Now, to be honest with you, the whole idea of Chassidus Chabad is to explain things in a lot of words and a lot of explanation. The last few years of the Rebbe's life, the Rebbe was very, very concise. To a certain extent, the Rebbe didn't talk in the Chabad language. To a certain extent, and a lot of Lubavitchers not necessarily will agree with this because they don't necessarily know the other styles of teaching. But people that grew up in other types of Chassidus will tell you that it's a different style. The style is more similar to other places. And then the Rebbe said a lot of things that are not so clear. They were less clear. It's not the regular. Why did the Rebbe do that? Because the Rebbe wanted to give that energy. And the Rebbe by himself said, I want Oyois the Toyu, lights of Tohu, and you should bring it into Kalim the Tikkun. You should bring it into the world. But you'll realize something very interesting. Like you'll realize that that things are so organized and things are so. It always contains the energy in a way that the energy is not left over there. So the world of Tohu is not a mistake in the system. The world of Tohu is the world of divine passion. The problem with divine passion, if it's not brought down into an orderly fashion, what happens? It could be very easily misconstrued. And therefore, Esav, which Esav is from the world of Tohu, he didn't know how to contain it. He didn't have Torah mitzvahs. He didn't have a structure. What happens when a wild guy has no structure? Goes crazy. A person goes and starts opening up like a huge company with 100 branches. It can be amazing. But this guy could go bankrupt very, very quickly.
Even in America, like the most important person in the country, the president, has cabinet to fall back on for control.
Exactly. Structure. Structure is Tohu or Tikkun, guys?
Tohu.
No. Structure is vessels or light?
Vessels.
That's the world of Tikkun. In Tikkun, there's also light, but the light are small, and the structure and the vessels are big. In the world of Tohu, there is big lights and small vessels. So going back, I want to take questions. I just want to explain. In the world of Tohu, two things happen. First of all, implodes by itself. If you are going to be extreme with anything, that's when you become justice. You go and take an idea all the way to the extreme very easily. what could happen is that you lose touch with the original source. That's what we spoke yesterday in class. There's so many examples throughout history about this. So many examples. But your example I love your example of that girl, that she took it completely the other way around. And again, I'm not blaming her teacher, because the teacher was trying to be the least
she didn't want to be like
confrontational. She wanted to be the least.
She had some sensitive topics, so she probably went a little bit along the surface.
It's not along the surface. It is giving the energy of it in an unstructured way. Surface would be that that was superficial. I'm trying to say that shlucha was giving the idea not in a surface way. It was just giving the energy of the idea in a very deep way, in a very passionate way. What would the other rebbitzin do? Open up a book and give the guidelines, and then Boaz would call it boring. You want to hear a very good example from American? Since we have 3 Americans in the room.
David is American. I'm not.
David just said that he was never in America.
Yeah.
That's frightening. He never visited the oil. What's going on? Maybe we should go together, huge fat.
Sure.
You get to like train. You guys sleep to get to America.
I went to the river.
Yeah. Oh,
I do have a
that's a crack.
I have a question I'm dying to ask about the last concept we talk about. We talk about the.
Yeah, let's only finish this
Yeah.
concept, and then remember what you want to ask. But in American history, American culture, in the American evolution of law, one of the very important things in the Constitution is freedom of speech. So I never know if that's a true story or not. For years I've been using this muscle, and no one was able to confirm with me if that's a true story. But almost every American school shares this story. Someone joined us. If you could say in the chat who you are, only if you want. We'll tell you good morning. So in every American school, they shared the story that there was once a person that went into a theater and said fire, fire. And what happened? The people started running out and trampling over each other, and some people were killed. And if you know the American judicial system, the way it works is that you can appeal higher and higher if you claim that it's not constitutional, all the way to the Supreme Court, with the main task of the Supreme Court is to make sure that all the American laws are constitutional. So when he came and he appealed and he said it's completely unconstitutional, according to the Constitution, one of the rights of the Constitution is freedom of speech.
First Amendment.
Exactly, First Amendment. So if it's a First Amendment freedom of speech, so I could walk into a theater and say fire, fire. Now this person got on, didn't like that I asked them. I thought maybe it's Gedalia or someone. They went off. I scared them away. So they had to explain, the Supreme Court had to explain that no, freedom of speech is very good as long as it's not
Hate speech.
as long as there's no clear and present danger. As long as there's no clear and present danger. Now, over here we have a typical example of creating a vessel to a powerful idea, freedom of speech. Now, freedom of speech is an amazing, amazing, beautiful idea, but that's not what I'll tell you. There's no details, there's no vessels. Now, what could happen to the idea of freedom of speech? A person could use the freedom of speech in order to kill people. That's frightening. In some what I'm saying? So that is a good example where an idea implodes. You have freedom of speech and the person goes too far. breaks, or as it's called in our weekly parsha, Vayim lo ychayamos. It rains and it dies. But I want to know, when the person is in the theater, saying fire, fire, where does he get his energy from? From the idea of freedom of speech. The freedom of speech is like Boaz said before, it stays in a way of makif. He doesn't really get the idea of pnimi is. He doesn't really get the idea in its true form. And therefore it could break. That is Esav. Esav takes the highest energies and botches it up, misconstrues it. That's one idea why it breaks. Another idea why it breaks is because it could never collaborate. Oh, that's how we started talking about the birthdays. In the world of Tikkun, there's a lot of collaboration. You can have imagine you have a company. The company has a marketing team, and the company has, on one hand, the company has a marketing team, and the other hand, the company has a team that is about sales. To a certain extent, the marketing team is the opposite of sales, right? Because the marketing team spends money, and the sales brings in money. So imagine that you're so extreme on bringing in money to the company that you don't give any budget for marketing. Or the opposite, you're so extreme about. If you're too extreme, you can't collaborate with others. In the world of Tohu, Chesed said, Ana emloch. I am the only way of revealing God is through Chesed. I can't collaborate with Gvura. Gvura said, I'm the only way. And what happens? Imagine the army say that one of the major successes in this war with Gaza, we still have 66 or 70 casualties, unfortunately. But like, anyone knows what it means to fight in those alleyways. It's like a miracle that we have only 60, 70 casualties. And the reason is because there's a crazy collaboration between different forces. But if a person says the only way to do it is Air Force, won't work. So that is the world of Tohu. Advantages of the world of Tohu and the disadvantages. And I want you to understand the advantage of the world of Tohu is because the world of Tohu contains the real energy. And that's why God created it. The fact that it broke is a part of the idea. In other words, it's not that it's a mistake. The world of Tohu is a world of passion, and it's still in our system. And that's the world of Tohu in us, which, as we said, in Chassidus, we want to take all the Kabbalistic ideas and find them within us. So we have our crazy part, but never destroy your crazy part. You need your crazy part. Your crazy part is what is going to help you conquer the world, which is going to help you go further in life. Right? That's the idea of passion. That's the idea of energy. But together with that, you have to understand that the world of Tohu could very easily get misconstrued and abused, like abnormal. Abuse is when you take something and you use it the wrong way. That's where sin comes in. That's why sin. What's the idea of sin? I hate the word sin. Yeah, but idea. What is the meaning of a passion that goes wrong? That's when you take beautiful ideas and beautiful energy in the world and you take them the wrong way. You misconstrue them. That's when you could use freedom of speech to shout fire, fire. That's when you take freedom of speech and you shout fire, fire, and you could cause death of people. I'm sorry, yeah. What did you want to say, sir?
No, just we were going to the point of marketing, right? The idea of marketing, and how you can captivate something. You can captivate a message in fewer words or no words. Does that mean we have only that X amount of energy or light, and then the rest is how we allocate it?
No, the opposite. The opposite. You have a lot of light. The ability of putting it in
Is it infinite or is there
Obviously, obviously it's not complete infinite, but we're talking in terms of marketing. It was my explanation to try to explain why in marketing they want the least words possible. You would never want to put on a paragraph. Why do you want to put on a paragraph? Because a paragraph is vessels, and once you have a lot of vessels, you're killing the energy. My main idea I wanted to try to point out is that it's very hard to have what it says in Kabbalah, that the world code has a lot of light in small vessels, is the idea that if you have a lot of vessels, it's going to take a toll on the light. That's what I was trying to say. Makes sense, guys? Have a beautiful day, everyone. Meaningful dining.